leaf blower.
Leaf blower out.
40 overs remaining today, so 0 for 5. Warner yet to get off the mark. Pucovski with a boundary, and now the groundsman packs up his tools of the trade and heads back to underground. And Jasprit Bumrah is quick to get into the action. But now Will Pucovski said, hang on a second, it's because of the flying cable camera above us.
Some spectacular time wasting, hasn't there, in this test?
Okay, here we go. Take 2 as Bumrah comes in. Pucovski waits. A little shuffle across towards his off stump and then pushes it away on the leg side to mid-on.
It's a terrible test match it's been for Rishabh Pant. Got some runs, dropped 2 catches, the blow to the elbow. And I just noticed just before he got out, physio runs out with a pill for him, gives it to him, tries popping it in his mouth. What happens? He misses his mouth, drops the pill as well.
I did that on the plane the other day with a headache tablet, but I forgot I had my mask on.
Bumrah comes in. Right arm over the wicket. A fuller pitch delivery to Will Pucovski, who just sends it back. Yeah, the world of wearing a mask sort of changes things, doesn't it? I wear glasses a lot. I threw in a piece of chewing gum. Thankfully here in Sydney, up until the last couple of weeks, masks haven't really been in full swing. So, chucked in a bit of chewing gum as well. And you don't realise how powerful that is when it gets up underneath your glasses and starts stinging your eyes, Pete.
Yeah, when you have a peppermint, you get the same thing.
That's the one.
It's like being maced.
That's it. Pucovski has a lash at this. A beautiful shot. Just forward of point. He waited on it. He played a couple of those in his first innings of 62. Plenty of time, a little dab of the hands and enough power behind it for a Blundstone boundary. Blundstone since 1870, they're 150 not out, and Will Pucovski moves to 8 not out.
All hands, such beautiful hands, Will Pucovski. Didn't have to really move his feet too much, just went with the hands, but the touch, that's the touch of a very classy batsman.
The lead is now 103. Bumrah in from the Paddington end. Pucovski waiting again, and his forward and defensive bat pad nicely together. And he walks away from the pitch to gather his thoughts.
And that's the maturity and confidence and game style of Pucovski, in that 0 or 100, if the ball's there to hit, I hit it. If it's not there, I don't hit it. You could very easily go into your shell with Bumrah. He moves the ball in at you around easy. Brilliant bowler, as we saw with that second new ball yesterday. But it was there, he hit it, he got 4 runs.
5th ball of the over. Pucovski again gets a nicely pitched delivery just outside of off stump, and he has that familiar walk away now where he just spins around, turns on his heels, gives himself about 10 metres, walks down towards the square leg umpire, has a little chat to himself, and now calmly comes back. Not much talk in between the 2 openers at the moment.
He's thinking about his dog.
Okay.
It's his thing. He says you bat, and batting takes a few seconds, then you just turn your mind off, and he generally thinks about his dog when he walks to square leg.
2 slips and a gully in place. Bumrah pitches this one up, and it shapes back in towards Will Pucovski, who plays it away for no runs. So 0 for 9 is the score, thanks to Western Union. Send money fast online. Day 3 here at the Pink Test at the SCG.
The major moments in sport.
AFL Grand Final, we played at the Gabba.
Individual brilliance.
Martin's got it. He scored. He shoots. It's the stuff of legend.
Inspiration.
State of Origin series is won by Queensland.
Across every town and city, sport is the glue of our local community. Listen anywhere, anytime on the SEN app. The latest news articles, podcasts, live sport and more. Download the SEN app today.
David Warner yet to get off the mark. He's faced 7 deliveries. Mohammed Siraj, 1 for 67 in the first innings, and Warner plays and misses. He was beaten all ends up there in the air, throwing his bat at it. Misses off stump and goes through, and now Warner wants to wander up and have a look at the pitch. Thanks to Western Union. Send money fast online. That was close.
And it just has not got up. That has skidded through half stump height when I think Warner would have expected that at the top of off. It has really surprised him. We saw variable height, didn't we? Even
Steve Smith spoke about it last evening. We need to get a little interesting.
0 for 9, Australia at the moment. And now David Warner is driving confidently on the offside, but snaffled away the run by the fieldsman, and he turns around and goes back. So let's assume that David Warner is feeling fit enough to be free. This is the kind of situation that he would love. Comes in, 90-plus lead.
Yep.
Give me an hour or so, let me go, and if I get moving, it's going to be hard to stop me and the Australian team. That's what he'd be thinking. And Siraj gives him a shorter pitch delivery, which he just chops away.
Yeah, India have to be careful here. Yes, they have conceded pretty sizable lead. They looked in a good position, 2 for 98 going into stumps on day 2. They have conceded a big lead, but it does not mean the game has slipped away yet. They can keep picking wickets, especially with this new ball. Still make a match of it.
He averages 65 in matches in Australia as he leaves the next delivery from Siraj, but he got out cheaply in the first innings. Bowled by this man, Siraj, caught Pujara at first slip. It was a loose shot. He played a loose one, the one before he got out, and he was gone for 5. And that left Will Pucovski out there on debut, all alone until Marnus Labuschagne joined him well.
38 overs left after this. 38 overs of David Warner, and this match could be decided.
That's a good point. Siraj comes in from the round weekend. It rises on Warner, who rises to the occasion and cuts it down just forward of point. They will get 2. And Warner's off the mark.
It wasn't a typical Warner 2. He took off at half pace, slowed for the bend, like your grandma going around a corner. Came back gently. He didn't need to rush, but normally he'd be pushing the fielders there, wouldn't he? Pretending he was going for a 3 almost.
Yeah, especially when he has someone who responds so quickly to a score like Will Pucovski.
He's so bullish. You know, even when he's doing that in that sort of slower motion, he still looks bullish, and he's loud with his calls. And he's chopping it away on the leg side. A little stumble as he tried to get away for that run. I think that was just more of footing than anything. So the score moves along to 0 for 12 on SEN Test Cricket. Matt Whites, Bharat Sundaresan and Peter Lawler with you. Thanks to Western Union. Send money fast online.
IMAR. We all know they're the tradies mates when it comes to business insurance. But did you know that IMAR has window cleaners covered too? Insure your window cleaning business with IMAR and receive commercial and industrial cover for 2-story, 5-story and no height restrictions. Plus, receive competitive monthly premiums at no additional cost. Just a simple phone call and we'll get you covered too. Call 13-IMAR now. That's 134627.
They're the tradies mate. That's IMAR.
Been having a look closely at the replay of David Warner running there as he gets off the mark. Australia 0 for 12. Warner's on 3. The replays, thanks to Wagner Vitamins, available every day from Chemist Warehouse. And, you know, he's definitely not 100%, we know that, but it's a different kind of motor to everyone else. And it moves in a different way to everyone else. And Pucovski actually went down there I'm pretty sure just to say, yeah, okay, or was it that, you know, the footing that just became unstuck?
And first time India going around the wicket to Warner. Didn't last long enough, of course, in the first innings.
So Bumrah v Warner. Warner made Bumrah wait, so Bumrah's replying in kind. He's taking his time at the top of his mark. Now he turns around. So round the wicket to the left-hander. 2 slips in place, so 2 is a gully. A shorter point and a fuller pitch delivery. And Warner successfully tucks it away on the leg side for no run. 0 for 12.
He kind of looks, he just looks like he's coiled up at the crease, Warner, doesn't he? He just looks like, I'm going to hit this and I'm going to hit it hard. There's just intent in his stance at the wicket. It's like a bloke who's always ready for a fight.
Well, I guess it can go two ways, can't it? You know, if you do have a slight injury there that's hampering you, you're going to have to stand and deliver, and he's got that in his kit bag. He doesn't have to go searching for it.
Yeah, that's what he does. There's nothing different about the way he's setting up.
This time he'll have to work a couple of singles as he pushes it away just behind square leg, and it's another 2. He doesn't run them out like we're so used to him doing so, but Warner moves to 5. So what I'm waiting to see here is if he is hampered by this groin, if he does settle in, though, and stays out there and plays no rash shots, this could be fireworks from David Warner. Because the game and the position at the moment of the game, I guess, lends itself for him to be allowed to do that. Not right now.
Yep. And then the big challenge would be our Ashwin. That would be a great battle, Ashwin to Warner.
This one's not bad. Bumrah against Warner. 0 for 14 is the score around the wicket. And he's just edging it to second slip along the ground.
I don't know if you have a connection to the Indian diaspora in Sydney, but where are they? Where is the Indian community? They have not come to this test match.
Did you see the color of the ball they're playing with? It's red. It's not white.
Right.
Yeah. So they feel the buzz of white ball.
I'm really surprised.
No,
I see the Bharat Army outside, but I cannot see any blue inside.
Fourth ball of the over. Again, Warner stands. And he's defending on the leg side and gives a nice loud shout to Will Pucovski, just in case you want to test my groin. No thanks. I'm not part of it.
But it's generally the case I've seen, whether it's in Adelaide, even in England. You see a lot of Indians rock up for white ball games, whether there's ODIs or T20s. You'll see the...
But they were in Melbourne. They were out in force in Melbourne. They were making a lot of noise in Melbourne. They brought a lot of energy to the contest.
They were the ones making the noise, but I still thought there were a lot more Australians or local Australians there than you would find for one-day cricket.
Bumrah pitches it up. It fades away towards leg stump, and that's where Warner turns it. Score remains 0 for 14.
Or maybe Indians just don't like wearing masks.
After this over, we'll have a change in commentary. Chris Rogers and Gerard Whateley taking you through the next little bit here on SEN Test Cricket, thanks to Western Union. Send money fast online. It's been a terrific day's play here at the SCG. All of our experts said the same thing. This is the day when somebody needs to get moving, and in today's case, it's been Australia with the advantage. Last ball of the over is a short one, and Warner gets down on his back leg and swings his head out of the way for no run. That's the end of the over. Australia at 0 for 14, lead by 108.
Hey, it's Matt McKeldin. And I'm Steve Johnson. And we're the hosts of The Driver's Seat, Australia's #1 motorsport radio show.
Each week we go through all the big news stories and chat to some of the biggest names in supercars.
Here with Mark Winterbottom. We're pumped, ready to go. Davey Reynolds here.
We've got a Sonic the Hedgehog phone cover. It's mad, eh?
Jamie Whincup, welcome back to The Driver's Seat.
Feels good. Feels good to be back. Plus, you can catch up and get all the exclusive interviews first on the Driver's Seat app.
Get radio's #1 motorsport show on your smartphone. Thanks to Kubota, building Australia.
Well, Saturday afternoon activity has halted while we watch Will Pucovski bat for the second time in Test cricket. 2 lovely boundaries to get himself underway. Saha is keeping in place of Pant, who's been sent to hospital for scans. Jadeja's off the fields. Batsman and bowler are unhappy with their footing around the creases of this pitch as Pucovski defends the first ball of Siraj's fresh over. And the most noticeable thing that's happened so far is the ball that's kept low to Warner. So we've seen a few spit up and now keeping low. So this is day 3 and there's a few gremlins in this pitch, Chris Rogers.
There are, and I guess the concern is when the ball starts going both up and down, it becomes a bit of a lottery when you're batting. You just don't know what to expect and where to put your hands. If it's in general keeping low, or the odd one's keeping low, then you can kind of prepare for that. But once it starts kicking, I think it gets nasty, and I'd argue it's not a great pitch.
None for 14. Pucovski is 8. He's on strike. Siraj bowls to him. He swings across the line of a ball that got all caught up and falls away to the leg side. So there's been discussions around Sydney pitches for quite a while now, and the quality of them and the characteristics of them. So you would have been part of a few of those conversations, I would think, later in your career.
Yeah, I distinctly remember Darren Lehman being who was coach of Australia at the time, being highly critical of the pitch that resulted in a 3-day test match against England in 13-14.
Siraj in bowls. Pucovski on the back foot, punching to mid-wicket. He will get a couple of runs here. Touches down for the first, has a look at Warner for the second, and they do come. None for 16.
And just, saying that it was a very poor pitch. And I just, when you see the ball kicking and hitting players, especially in the gloves, are we going to see a couple of the Indian players now out for the last test? That'd be very disappointing. I just don't think that you want to see that happen.
Pucovski's 10, Warner's 5. Australia building a lead that started at 94.
And it's actually not from the rough. It's just from the pitch itself.
Yep. Pucovski faces up to Siraj. He's in behind it, defending to cover no run.
And I guess we're towards the back end of day 3, depending how Australia's 30 is going. But then India are going to be batting, you'd imagine, at the end of day 4 into day 5. And with Australia's fast bowling battery, it could be interesting. Could get a little messy.
2 injuries already. Siraj bowls, edging Pucovski's put it into the gloves of Saha. Pucovski's gone for 10. Siraj has got his number in the second innings. And Australia loses the first wicket with a total at 16.
Oh, that's an exceptional ball. That's angled in. Just hit the seam on a good length and nipped away. And Will Pucovski probably just playing across the line a fraction. Just only managed to get the outside edge, and Saha took a pretty clean catch behind. But Pucovski will be disappointed about that. Just probably try to hit it a little bit too hard. It was probably too good a length to be pushing as hard as he did.
So Will Pucovski's work on debut will be 62, followed by 10. And he departs with Australia's lead at 110. So a big experience and a lot to contemplate in the aftermath of it. And it brings Marnus Labuschagne out to the middle to join Dave Warner. From India's perspective is to get their way back into the test. They've sort of been able to hang around in test matches and fight back at moments when they looked in strife. It's sort of 3 or 4 wickets tonight to try to keep things in check heading into day 4.
Yeah, that's yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only hope India have is really early wickets and just putting a few doubts back into the Australian camp. So they've started well. Just having a look at that ball. It's a really good ball. And probably just in a second innings where the pitch is playing a few tricks, I guess you've probably just got to have a bit more respect there and accept that, that's a pretty good area to land the ball. Just get through to the next one. But it just looked like Pucovski was trying to push it for 1 or 2.
Yep. New batsman for Bundaberg, Ginger Beer, the great Australian brew. You can go back to your Saturday afternoon activities as well. That's a pity. 1 for 16. Warner, who is moving very gingerly. And he's running between wickets. Labuschagne, he's got plenty of runs behind him in the series.
But that's the thing, isn't it, about Test cricket? You want it to be hard. You don't just want necessarily a young player just to come in and completely dominate it. Yep. You want to see the journey and the learning. Know that you've got to work at it.
We've seen a good young bowler in Mohammed Siraj, that's for sure. He has Labuschagne playing him out of the stumps and turning him forward of mid-wickets. He races down to complete 2. As Agarwal, who's subbing for Jadeja, does the chasing and restricts it to that. 1 for 18.
Labuschagne starts this innings with 220 runs in the series at 44 with his 91 in the first innings series half-century.
Hi, it's Doug the tradie. If you're a tradie like me, you need the correct insurance. It's easy with IMAR. They offer competitive premiums, instant cover and no paperwork. Go online, get an instant quote and pay the premium, or call an expert now on 13IMAR. You'll be covered in a few simple steps and ready to get on with the job. Visit imar.com.au today or call 13IMAR and get a quote, get covered, get working.
They're the tradies, mate. That's IMAR.
Luckily, someone's paying attention. Australia 1 for 18. It was the end of the over. Warner is 5. He faces up and Bumrah around the wickets. He over pitches and he's driven away through mid-on. And that will reach the boundary for 4. Warner goes to 9. Australia 1 for 22. The boundaries for Blunston. 150 not out. Blunston since 1870.
It was a lovely shot, that, wasn't it? Just... that's what you hope a bit more from Davey Warner. Just let the ball come in a little bit closer to his body and then almost just punch it down the ground. Instead of that kind of flashy cover drive away from his body in the first innings.
Had all the angles working for him on that occasion. Bumrah's bowling around the wicket to Warner, who plays the ball to cover. And you heard all the calling that went on there. No run. Joel's got a question for you, Chris. Could Marcus Harris bat anywhere other than opening in a Test career, do you think? Or is he a devoted opener?
I think you'd never say never, but...
Bumrah bowls to Warner, who plays the ball again to cover. There's no run there.
I think you're just presented with different challenges if you're coming in the middle order, and one of those would be starting against high-quality spin. And I think with Marcus Harris, he probably is better set up to face the fast bowlers before the spin comes on, particularly off-spin. I think when the ball spins into him, it's a different story.
Ajinkya Rahane plotting the moves for India. A couple of men down. Bumrah bowls and Warner's on the back foot. Again, it's Vihari who's called into action and at cover.
Well, I think it's a really tough one. I think he's just played the majority of his Test career. Oh, sorry, yeah, his first class and Test career at the top of the order, and you probably get used to it as well. Even just walking out at the beginning and not having to sit there and wait. Why I think a number 3 can go on open, but if you start talking about a 4, 5, 6 just to go on open, it's just such a different preparation.
Warner playing from the crease defends the ball to mid-off on this occasion and no run.
And that's why Matthew Wade did a pretty decent job. It's very different walking out straight away, even having to run off and chuck your gear on with a 10-minute turnover. That's different as well. So why do you think he's asking that question?
I just think in our conversation around the middle order yesterday and possible solutions within the squad, is Warner plays the ball through the covers on this occasion. So through the over, he's been tuning up to find the gap, and he finds it late and takes 2 at the end of it. 6 from the over. Australia 1 for 24. SEN Test Cricket for Western Union. Send money fast online.
Hey, it's Matt McKeldin.
And I'm Steve Johnson.
And we're the hosts of The Driver's Seat, Australia's #1 motorsport radio show.
Each week we go through all the big news stories and chat to some of the biggest names in supercars.
Here with Mark Winterbottom. We're pumped, ready to go. Davey Reynolds here.
We've got a Sonic the Hedgehog phone cover. It's mad, eh?
Jamie Whincup, welcome back to The Driver's Seat.
Feels good to be back. Plus you can catch up and get all the exclusive interviews first on the Driver's Seat app.
Get radio's #1 motorsport show on your smartphone. Thanks to Kubota, building Australia.
All the stats and facts from Adam Collins for ScotPack. Turn unpaid invoices into cash. ScotPack.com.au. 1 for 24 as Australia builds its lead. Pucovski, the man out, caught Saha, bowled Siraj for 10. Saha is sub-wicket keeper for Pant, who's been taken to hospital for scans on his arm with the fear that it might be broken, and Jadeja hasn't taken the field after he was struck on the thumb during his innings. So there's a casualty list in the Indian camp. Labuschagne's on 2. Siraj, the wicket taker, bowls over the wicket to him. He's defended back to the bowler. And Siraj lets fly up over the batsman, and Saha has to do a bit of work to haul that in. That's left his hand not in the manner that it intended. Labuschagne shapes up as maybe I should have tapped it over the top.
It was like that Saini beamer in the first inning. It just looked like he threw that straight over the wicketkeeper's head before, but fortunately he didn't have the power on it.
In the middle order discussion, which Joel has prompted there, what do you actually think Australia needs?
Well, there's going to be a lot of cricket that's played in Asian conditions, so spin predominantly. So I dare say that they're going to be identifying players to be in that middle, that number 5, number 6, depending on what they're thinking with Cam Green.
Siraj bowls and Labuschagne pulls into the turf and powerfully away for 4. Got it forward of square. It's sat up to be hit, and hit it. Marnus Labuschagne did. He moves to 6. It's 1 for 28. The boundary for Blunston. 150 not out since 1870.
I still don't think it's a bad tactic from India. Just with a bit of variable bounce. That one bounces a little bit more than Labuschagne's a little bit in trouble of a top edge flying to fine leg, but he played that very, very well. So, yeah, I think that with the amount of cricket that's coming up in spin-friendly conditions, that's almost, crucial that player.
Labuschagne defends a ball from just outside the off stump.
That player can play spin well, score off it, and from ball 1 as well. Because I think you see some ridiculous stats when you go to. I think it was in India, it was about 63% of the bowling in the test matches in India was of spin. Mm-hmm. And then Sri Lanka was even more. It was kind of over 70%.
Australia's lead is 122 as Labuschagne gives the full face of the bat to his drive, but it finds mid-off, no run. Does Australia have a stock of those players, or is it a bit of a search?
I think there's a much more of a recognition that this is.
Siraj to Labuschagne, clips it out of the pads to square, no run.
This is a skill you'll need if you want to play in the middle order for Australia now. Because you're just going to have to face so much of it.
Is enough done in Australia to prepare players for that?
I mean, they're trying. For instance, there's an annual, tour to the MRF Academy in India where, you're playing and training in spin conditions to kind of see if you can fast track it.
Last ball of Siraj is over. It's met in defence by Labuschagne, who's got it all covered up. 1 for 28 SEN Test cricket for Western Union. Send money fast online.
IMAR. We all know they're the tradies' mates when it comes to business insurance. But did you know that IMAR has window cleaners covered too? Insure your window cleaning business with IMAR and receive commercial and industrial cover for 2-storey, 5-storey and no height restrictions. Plus, receive competitive monthly premiums at no additional cost. Just a simple phone call and we'll get you covered too. Call 13-IMAR now. That's 134627.
They're the tradies, mate. That's IMAR.
The lead is 122 on the Wagner Vitamins replay screen from Chemist Warehouse. We're getting a look at Ravindra Jadeja in the pavilion, and his thumb doesn't look any good at all. Strapping on that, he's sitting next to the coach, and I don't know what role he's got to play left in this Test match, given he took 4 wickets in the first innings.
Well, it's his left hand, isn't it, and his bowling hand, so it's whether he can get his thumb on the ball or underneath the ball to allow him to really try and rev it. So that's going to be interesting. But, I mean, it's a external blow, so he can come on and bowl whenever he wants. That's not really an issue. It's whether they're just protecting him in the field and then, hey, mate, we need you to bowl, come out, warm up. I'll just go back to another thing that was happening in Brisbane was there was a spin month as well, a kind of May, where a lot of the best spin bowlers from around the country were brought up to work with a number of coaches from around Australia as well. And at the time, we got to bring up quite a number of batsmen to just put him into kind of this environment where they just faced exclusively spin and developed some skills.
Navdeep Saini has been tossed the ball. He's around the wicket to Warner. He's tucked up, but he is able to turn it away wide of mid-on and help himself to a run. He's 12. It's 1 for 29.
And the other thing is they have to learn it, because if they want to play BBL, you only have to look at how well spin does in the competition. That if you want to be any good, you've got to be able to play spin well. So, yeah, there's a wide recognition that it needs to be addressed. And I think when Australia went to India in the last series, they actually played quite well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you went over there, didn't you?
Yep.
And you thought it was excellent. And they prepared well for that tour as well. I think they went to the UAE for a period leading into it and had a real kind of crash course. There's a lot of data coming around about even contact points for batsmen. The Australian batsmen tend to hit a lot of balls between the 2 and 3 metre mark away from the stumps, whereas Indian players play far less in that zone.
Saini bowls, Labuschagne leaves.
So you'll see at some of their training sessions, they'll have stumps up next to the pitch at the 2 and 3 metre mark. And the challenge is to not hit the ball in that zone, that kind of stuff. Because if you look at Virat Kohli, for instance, he'll get out to the 3 metre mark or he'll get right back, and his contact point, the back foot's about, on average, is about 1.03 metres.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of Australians are still probably 1.3, 1.4 metres kind of out at that kind of stuff. So it's actually it's quite stark, the data that's showing that, it's just not quite the understanding.
Saini bowls, Labuschagne cuts it a wide one. He's taken full toll. It was gifted to him and he whacked it through the covers for 4. Labuschagne to 10. The lead is 127. And Saini is clearly concerned about the landing areas as he's come in, and having spent a lot of time scratching away, as you would have heard in the background, he just threw that wide.
Yeah, he doesn't want to come on here and just let Australia get away from India. But you were kind of nodding your head but looking up in the air as if up to the signal, as if I was confusing you with some of those numbers.
No, I'm just visualising. So walk me through what the benefits and what the problem for Australian batsmen in playing 2 to 3 in the 2 to 3 metre bracket. Labuschagne tucks his ball to leg, no run. So why does Kohli play earlier and later than that zone, for instance?
The actual run rate or scoring out of that zone goes way down, but the chances of when you're trying to play out of that zone go up as well. Yep. So it is the danger zone when you're playing against good quality spin.
Yep.
So, and that's what, you hear people say, you either get out to the ball and you hit it on the bottom of the bounce, or you get right back and you hit it on the top of the bounce.
Yep. Labuschagne's 10. And he'll have more here as he's on the back foot stroking the ball to a deep point. So Saini given a bit of protection after the previous boundary, and it's kept to 1. The lead grows to 128.
Tell you what, those 2 shots were class shots. Even there was a drive to mid-off where he looked in beautiful shape and his movement was excellent. He looks in real touch now.
He looks like he's found his game, isn't he? I know he made 40s in the first couple of tests, but that was nothing like the Labuschagne that we were watching last summer. But he's tuned his way into all of this. Warner's on 12. He faces up. This is wide and given the treatment. So the captain's had to protect his debutant with deep points, and it's saved him runs at the end of the over. But he'll need better from Saini than that. 7 from it. 1 for 35. SEN Test Cricket for Western Union. Send money fast online.
SEN Track is the new sound of chasing, pacing and racing. And each Saturday you can watch it online. Saturday Trackside is on live stream on the SEN app, on your mobile via Twitch, your computer or smart TV. The banter, the fun, the expert analysis and horse racing tips. Simon O'Donnell, Dave Taggart and co bring it all to the table. Saturday Trackside. Watch the live stream this Saturday. SEN Track, the new sound of chasing, pacing and racing.
Australia 1 for 35. Warner's 13. Labuschagne 11. Pucovski out for 10. Chris Rogers is in the expert chair for Maccas. The McRib and El Macco are back at Maccas this summer. And we're going to spin relatively quickly with Ashwin to bowl the 10th over of this innings.
Yeah, I don't think that's a surprise. Even Australia have kind of raced a little bit to 1 for 35, and I don't think Rahane would want to get to the kind of 20th over, then bring on spin and see that he should have had that on early. Even just have a look. Let's see if Ashwin can get something out of this pitch that Nathan Lyon didn't.
Yes, I mean, the spin figures are unflattering on the raw data. None for 74 and none for 87. Ashwin into Lyon. And now back to Ashwin, who's around the wicket to Warner. Bat and pad together as he defends down the pitch. And it had been the misnomer around Sydney as it had lost its identity, Colo. It hadn't been spin friendly for a whole number of years, and Lyon made a lie of that last year when he took 10 wickets in the test. Warner across the line, that looked out to LBW. Ashwin gets it. Paul Rifle had a long look and then gave it. Warner wants to check as he swings his arm, suggesting it could have missed leg stump. But in the moment that happened, he was right in front.
It's a fair delivery. Could I start with spin vision, please?
It just looks out, doesn't it? I think the Paul Rifle probably just gave himself some time to think that, you know, is that going to go down leg side? But it just looks out, doesn't it?
Yep.
Even though he's playing the sweep shot, he's well forward. It's an interesting shot from Warner.
It's missed the front pad. It's actually got him in the midriff.
Leg side hot spot, please.
So he's coming forward, hasn't done him any great favours there.
Don't see any mark on the bat. Can I have RTS, please?
It does still have a little way to go, though.
It does, yes. He's a long way forward here.
Yeah, got a flat line going past.
Whether this ball's going over the top again, what we've seen from Ashwin in the last Test match.
Body, thank you.
But in terms of the line,
no bat involved here. Can we go to ball tracking when it's ready, please?
So Dave Warner's fate about to be revealed.
Here we go. Impact is in line and wickets is umpire's call. Stand by, I'll get you on screen and you can reconfirm the out decision. You're on screen now.
Warner howls at the moon, but he is sent on his way. And Paul Rifle's call well vindicated. And while there might be disappointment around the stands, that's out. As the umpires call up on the bails, it's not marginal by any means. Out is out. And Dave Warner's on his way. He's gone for 13. Australia loses its second wicket.
I was actually just going to say and ask Colo how many times Davey Warner's been out LBW to off-spin bowling, but more from when he stands up and defends and gets beaten on the inside. And that's a shot I've seen Warner play quite a bit. He can kind of hit that sweep shot and hit it in different directions on the left side. Perhaps he just needed to have a bit more of a look and trust his defence. I wonder if he's worried about those two slips. But, yeah, disappointing end for Davey Warner.
It's just the second ball from Ashwin. So, yes, your point is that he didn't give himself much of a look before he went to it.
I just think when you've been facing fast bowling, and he hasn't faced a lot of spin, he might have been in the nets, but when the spinner comes on, it's a different rhythm. And whether I remember once being told that spinners get quite a high percentage of their wickets in their first 3 overs. So for me, once I heard that, I just thought, okay, I've got to be trying to get through 3 overs of the spinner, and then it's going to be easier. So not playing that kind of those aggressive shots. So I just wonder if Warner will just be sitting back there thinking, I just didn't need to do that.
Yep. 2 for 35, both openers gone. Pucovski for 10, Warner for 13. Steve Smith, the new man in for Bundaberg Ginger Beer, the great Australian brew. Will have meant he's batted on all 3 days of this test match, and he'll have an eye towards making sure that he's there at stumps.
I think it's good umpiring too. You were asking whether he was going to put his finger up. He just gave himself a little bit of time to weigh it up, and I thought he's been very good, Paul Rifle.
I think he's excellent, and just being able to watch him at length. So you see, in and out of international test matches for hours on end. Going back, Smith scores off the first ball from Ashwin as he tucks it through mid-wicket and gets his next account underway, 2 for 36. So it's not like we haven't seen him, but just to observe him day after day after day, he was excellent there. He really studious, thoughtful, waited, yep, then raised the finger.
Just looking at Warner's shot there too, I think he's going from low to up, so he's trying to hit that in the air rather than just hit through the ball, make sure of it.
Ashwin to Labuschagne, who's back and tucking it around the corner. He'll take a single out to deep mid-wicket. It's 2 for 37.
Chris, you asked about finger spinners and David Warner. He's been out leg before wicket 19 times in Test cricket before today. Obviously, that's 20 now, and 13 of them have been finger spinners.
Right. Yeah, it's something I've seen quite a bit from him. It's always stuck out, and I remember he got out to...
Ashwin bowls to Smith, who dances down the pitch and clips him to long on. Take a single. He's 2 for 38.
The left-handed part-time off-spinner batsman for South Africa.
JP Duminy.
Yes, Duminy, he got out.
Last ball of the over. Labuschagne a long way down. He didn't quite arrive, but he was able to squirt it away to mid-on, get himself a single. Not the greatest of throws coming back to Saha. He's dragged it down. Singles from the last 4 balls of the over. 2 for 39 with Anthony Hudson coming in. SEN Test Cricket for Western Union. Send money fast online.
Hi, it's Doug the Tradie. If you're a tradie like me, you need the correct insurance. It's easy with IMAR. They offer competitive premiums, instant cover and no paperwork. Go online, get an instant quote and pay the premium, or call an expert now on 13IMAR. You'll be covered in a few simple steps and ready to get on with the job. Visit imar.com.au today or call 13IMAR and get a quote, get covered, get working.
They're the tradies, mate. That's IMAR.
2 for 39 afternoon. Bucks and Collar. There's an element of tension in this all of a sudden, even though the Indians are going down one after the other. In terms of fitness, Collar, maybe some more news on that front.
Yeah, Bumrah has been on and off the field talking to the coach, Ravi Shastri. He's just come back on now, but Bharat Sundaresan, our correspondent at the SCG, is reporting on that.
So both Australian openers back in the pavilion, and it's Smith and Labuschagne. And Labuschagne right in behind that. He's in a sprightly fashion got to 13 from 14 balls. Saini operating.
It is an interesting stat, the fact that he gets LBW to off-spin quite a lot. And it's kind of consistent with what England have worked out towards him, Davey Warner, that they angle the ball back into him. Don't try and swing it away as such.
Sighting of Jadeja there in the rooms. Bumrah back out there with 2 caps on. Saini comes flying into bold, and Labuschagne across and works it, but straight to Sharma at square leg, and there's no run.
Yeah, the innings you're talking about, JP Duminy at Port Elizabeth, the second innings there in 2014, where you were down the other end rattling off 100. Warner leg before for 66.
Yeah, it was just out of the blue, because I think he was... How many did you say he scored?
66.
66.
So you put on 126.
And he was doing it easily. And then he just missed a straight one, really, off Duminy. And I think just finds it hard with the ball kind of coming back at him.
So he delivers a rising ball from just back of a length, well handled by Labuschagne. For Western Union, this is SEN Test Cricket. Send money fast online.
Yeah, you look through it. Ashwin's been successful. 3 occasions getting him leg before wicket. Make that 5, sorry. Missed a couple there. 5 times now Ashwin's got him leg before in tests.
And the majority, I'd say, would be beaten on the inside edge. Not even sweeping. Yeah.
All the numbers for Scott Pack. Saini bowls. Labuschagne further across this time, and he still can't